A single photograph can ignite 1,000 headlines. And in the world of the British monarchy, a child's tears have a way of traveling farther than any official statement ever could. When a young prince's frustration flashes across a balcony in front of millions, the internet does not wait for context. It simply reacts. And so a story begins not with a palace announcement, but with speculation, framing, and a title designed to make you stop scrolling. Before we go further, it is worth pausing to ask what is actually known, what has been documented by credible royal reporters, and what belongs firmly in the realm of rumor dressed up as revelation. This is the story of Prince Louis, of Camilla, Queen Consort turned Queen, and of William, Prince of Wales, a man increasingly defined by his instinct to protect his children from the very spotlight that shaped his own childhood. It is a story that intersects real, well-documented royal history with the modern machinery of viral content, where dramatic titles often promise more than they can responsibly deliver. What follows separates verified public record from the noise, while still exploring the genuine tensions, transitions, and emotional undercurrents that have shaped this particular corner of the royal family in recent years. Let's begin with what is real. Prince Louis, born in April 2018, is the youngest child of William and Catherine, Prince and Princess of Wales. Since his earliest public appearances, Louis has become something of an unintentional internet phenomenon, largely because young children are, by nature, unpredictable in formal settings. His expressive faces during the Trooping the Color ceremonies in 2022 and again in subsequent years were captured by press photographers stationed along the Buckingham Palace balcony route, and those images spread rapidly across social media. Louis has been photographed laughing uncontrollably, covering his ears at the sound of the flight past, and on more than one occasion appearing visibly overwhelmed or tearful. Royal commentators, including journalists who cover the family closely, have generally interpreted these moments as ordinary childhood reactions to noise, crowds, and long ceremonial duration, rather than evidence of any deeper family conflict. It is important to state clearly that no credible, verified report has ever linked Louis's public displays of frustration to any specific incident involving Camilla or her extended family. The idea that William has taken drastic, targeted action against Camilla's relatives, whether financially, socially, or through some formal palace mechanism, is not supported by any statement from Kensington Palace, Clarence House, or any established royal correspondent. Titles like the one framing this discussion often borrow the language of conflict, because conflict generates attention. Yet responsible reporting requires distinguishing between dramatic phrasing and documented fact. What can be explored honestly and with appropriate nuance is the broader relationship dynamic between William and his stepmother's family, the historical friction that existed in earlier years, and how that friction has evolved over time. Camilla's journey into the royal family was, by any honest account, one of the most difficult transitions in modern royal history. Her relationship with Charles began decades before their eventual marriage in 2005, and the years surrounding the breakdown of Charles's marriage to Diana, Princess of Wales, left Camilla as one of the most publicly criticized women in Britain. Biographers such as Penny Junor and royal historian Robert Lacey have documented extensively how Camilla weathered sustained public hostility throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, hostility that inevitably shaped how her own children, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopez, were perceived by the press and by extension, by a young William and Harry. William's relationship with Camilla has been described by multiple credible sources, including biographer Katie Nicholl, as one that developed slowly and cautiously. In the years following Diana's death in 1997, William was, understandably, protective of his mother's memory, and reports from that era suggested a degree of reserve, if not outright coolness, between him and Camilla. However, as the years progressed, that relationship reportedly softened. William attended Camilla's wedding to his father in 2005, and over the following 2 decades, public appearances suggest a working, cordial relationship, even if it may never have carried the warmth some hoped for. Harry's memoir, Spare, published in 2023, did reference tensions within the blended family, including his own more strained perspective on Camilla, but even that account, controversial as it was, did not describe any drastic action by William against Camilla's family specifically involving Louis. What has changed more visibly in recent years is not a rupture between William and Camilla's relatives, but rather a broader, well-documented shift in how William and Catherine manage their children's public exposure. Since becoming Prince and Princess of Wales in 2022, following the death of Queen Elizabeth II, William and Catherine have taken increasingly deliberate steps to shield George, Charlotte, and Louis from excessive media scrutiny. This has included limiting the number of official engagements the children attend, controlling the release of official photographs, and, according to royal correspondents like Valentine Low, author of the widely respected book Courtiers, actively pushing back against paparazzi intrusion, including legal action against photographers who captured unauthorized images of the children at their Norfolk home in 2024. This pattern of protective behavior offers a far more grounded explanation for any perceived tension than a fabricated feud with Camilla's family. William, having grown up as a child constantly observed, photographed, and analyzed, has spoken publicly, including in a rare interview, about wanting a different, more private childhood for his own children. Catherine's own cancer diagnosis and treatment throughout 2024 further intensified the family's instinct toward privacy, with Kensington Palace issuing statements specifically requesting that the media allow the children space during an already difficult period. It is entirely plausible and consistent with public record that any tightening of access around royal engagements, including moments where Camilla's family might otherwise have been present, stems from this broader protective posture rather than from any personal dispute. As for the claim that Louis was left in tears over a specific incident connected to Camilla's relatives, no verified source, whether a royal biographer, an official palace statement, or an established outlet such as the BBC, The Times, or Low magazine, has documented such an event. Louis's emotional moments in public have consistently been attributed by royal watchers to ordinary childhood overwhelm, kind any parent might recognize from long, loud, high-pressure public events. During the 2023 Trooping the Color, for instance, footage widely circulated showing Louis appearing distressed by the noise of the Royal Air Force fly past, a reaction that commentators at the time linked directly to sensory overload rather than any family conflict. It is worth stepping back to consider why headlines like this one continue to proliferate despite the absence of supporting evidence. The monarchy occupies a unique cultural position, simultaneously ancient and hypermodern. Its members treated as both symbols of continuity and subjects of relentless tabloid fascination. Camilla's path from so-called outsider to queen represents one of the most remarkable image transformations in recent royal history, a shift documented extensively by journalists who once covered her as a villain and now cover her as a steady, largely well-regarded consort. William, meanwhile, is increasingly viewed as a modernizing figure, one whose approach to fatherhood, family privacy, and public duty differs meaningfully from previous generations. The friction between these two evolving public narratives, an older generation's complicated past and a younger generation's guarded present, creates fertile ground for speculation, even when actual conflict is minimal or non-existent. Royal historians often remind us that tension within any large family, royal or otherwise, is neither unusual nor inherently scandalous. What makes the royal family's internal dynamics uniquely visible is the sheer volume of public attention directed at even minor gestures, seating arrangements, or facial expressions. A tired toddler on a balcony becomes a symbol. A limited guest list becomes evidence of exile. In truth, families navigating blended relationships, generational change, and public duty simultaneously are almost certain to experience some friction, and the royal family is no exception. But friction is not the same as drastic, deliberate retaliation, and it is important that audiences seeking to understand this institution are given accurate context rather than manufactured drama. What we can say with confidence is this: William has demonstrated, through documented actions, a clear commitment to protecting his children's privacy and emotional well-being, a commitment shaped by his own difficult childhood in the public eye. Camilla has, over 2 decades, built a working relationship with William that appears functional, if not effusive, according to consistent observations of royal correspondents who have covered them both closely. Louis, like any young child thrust into a world of ceremonial pageantry, has had public moments of overwhelm that say far more about the intensity of royal spectacle than about any specific family dispute. In the end, The most compelling stories about this family are not the ones invented for clicks, but the quieter, more human ones already sitting in plain sight. A father tried to give his children a gentler version of the childhood he never had, a stepmother who spent decades earning a place she was once denied, and a little boy whose tears, however viral, were likely nothing more than the ordinary weight of being small in a very large, very loud world. Perhaps that is the real lesson here, that behind every dramatic headline lies a far more ordinary human truth, waiting patiently to be noticed.